Hello everybody, Andy here, and today we are talking about the Chaos Cults, because that's right, the Chaos Cults are absolutely dominating, and people need to know how to beat them. And so, in this video, I will give you that hot sauce, Teddy. Cults win in two ways, essentially, guys. They activation advantage, they have a horde number of bodies, and they have the ability to get elite bodies. Throughout the game, they can passively gain these elite bodies, but they can also gain them actively when killing you, obviously. This means the only real counter to them is to kill them. Okay, that might seem kind of obvious, but you can't just wait them out. That's what I'm saying. You can't play for the late game. If you try to leave them alone, you will find yourself swamped in elite bodies in exactly the places you don't want them to be as well. You can't play the objective as they have the body count and can GA2 to beat you, right? So, how do you beat them? Step 1, if you're a subscriber to my channel, I'd like to give you a big double hello. We all saw it coming, but hey, if you'd like yourself a double hello, consider liking, subscribing, leaving a comment right now, and if you really like what I'm doing here, the whole kill team thing, consider checking out my Patreon, my Discord, all that super cool stuff. But either way, thumbs up to you. Nice. Okay, so how do you beat them? Wait for the nerf. Unfortunately, that's like 3 months away because we have just today, the date of my birthday, by the way, we've had our balance day slate, and today we had our final kind of FAQs for the quarter. So we're 3 months away from anything else happening to Kill Team. We've got to deal with them, right? We've got a lot of big tournaments coming up in that time as well, so we can't just ignore them. We're going to see them absolutely slamming all of the tournaments. So what can you do, right? You're going to go into them. Much like everybody had to have a plan for Intersession, even though Intersession weren't, this tier of destructive. You had to have a plan because you would face them, and if you didn't have a plan, strong team, they would beat you. Same for Cults, except we're going to see a lot of them in podiuming, let's just say that. So we are looking at a team that you have to face that completely dominates. Second option, match dodge. Anyway, okay, so there's a few tactical tips and list building tips here that we can kind of do to go into the Chaos Cult matchup. Firstly, general strats. Big hitters to put down their mutants and torments. If you manage to get those mutant to torment kills before they do the damage, then you are essentially crippling the team. If you get lucky, this can be as simple as getting 2 kills a turn. That's all you actually need. Likewise, if you can spread a lot of damage, then lean heavily into blast, splash, and reap. Not all factions have access to those keywords on their weapons, so yeah. They have a lot of models, which means they play the objective very well, but it also means they will hopefully have models that you can target, right, valid target, which will spread your damage to models that you can't target. Don't let them daisy chain is another thing that we're gonna, hold them to task, okay? Daisy chaining is not possible. They have so many models, they are probably going to have to put one of their devotees behind another devotee in cover, and that's probably then not within an inch of that cover, so you can shoot it. That's your blast, your reap, your splash, easy shot, and you don't have to be on a vantage point. Take them to task, demand precise positioning, don't let them daisy chain. You can shoot those models behind the model in front, okay? And they have so many, they will have to do it. Doors, amusingly, make cults unstoppable. The competitive crowd has spent so long deciding rules that hurt Pathfinders and shooting in general that they've now accidentally buffed melee and had a team now kind of released that is absolutely OP and melee. And it has range that only cares about visibility. A bit awkward. So yes, that's right, I declare that cults would be beatable without doors on Octarius. Fight me, bro. Next up, we kind of have list building. Now in 40k, list building is very much a thing, right? We all know that. You can build SKU lists that do one thing really well and then fail if they get matched into the thing their SKU doesn't handle well. It's a SKU list. It's a thing. It's a 40k thing. This is Kill Team channel. It's fine. We get it. In Kill Team, we of course don't really have that. Although, to be entirely honest, I would argue that making one of your gunners a flamer is you running SKU, because flamer's normally just really bad. You should never take it, but when you really need it, right? You really need to hit multiple models, flamer. Anyway, the point is that in 40k, due to the imbalance inherent in the system, if you want to win a tournament in a tournament environment, it is acceptable to go out and buy 3 Wraith Knights, 30 Desolation Marines, 15 Scourges, a Gene Stealer Cult Army, whatever it is that makes your faction work, right? Or if your faction doesn't work, buy another faction. It's fine. You chase the meta because there is a real live active tournament scene. People are okay with it, people expect it. Yeah, it's cheesy, but at the top tables with the other people doing the same thing, everybody's cool with it. It is the same in Kill Team. Some factions just can't beat cults. Luckily, our factions are like $50 instead of $1,000 like 40k, so nice, we're kind of good. So let's look at some kill teams that can do something into cults that others perhaps can't. If you aren't going to play cults yourself, which is like a legit tactic, just throwing that out there, maybe you will consider swapping to one of these factions instead. And just to reiterate, I'm not saying any of these teams have a good matchup or an easy matchup into cults. They just have some tools that can be used in an easier manner than some other factions, and hopefully by me kind of telling you, hey, this faction could do this thing, perhaps there's something I missed or I'm just not touching upon in this limited time video, that you can look at your own faction or factions you particularly like and say, oh yeah, I think actually my faction does have a weird thing that it can do, right? So, High-Tech Circle. Coincidentally, the bad boys I've got right here in front of me because they're gangster. I start with the High-Tech Circle because because I know the team the best, and I think that they probably have the best matchup into cults of pretty much any team, as you have access to some of the best AoE in the game, best AoE damage out there, between your Chronomancer with Aeon Stave, this chap here, lovely, and all of your Teslas, your Immortals, who can get the equipment that makes their splash 3 inches instead of 2 inches. So, this is also the one matchup where I wouldn't take a Deathmark. A Deathmark can be really interesting and do interesting things with Overwatch and the heavy weapon interaction, but not on this. You take 4 Teslas, all with arc shock projectors to make the splash square instead of circle, as discussed. Removing a single wound from splash will put all of the cultists within 1-shot kill range for the rest of your models without any trouble, and can reach behind cover to hit their dark commu models, which they will be hiding. Okay? You might be thinking, why isn't he just saying, oh, shoot that dude? If a cults player shows you that dude, this isn't a problem, right? We're talking about a top competitive match, and you're trying to do the absolute best you can. If they're just showing you their models, you can kill them, right? Like that's fine. The problem is, because of the way we are currently building Octaris with doors, they never have to show you their vulnerable models. They will just wait, okay? So the Chronomancer should focus on hitting their nest. The nest is, of course, where they are hiding all of their dark commu models or the important guys. Turn 2. With his fly and 9-inch move, he's one of the few models that can do it reliably. And yes, you are suiciding him, but you just reanimate. It's fine. Get him in there after popping Relentless Onslaught so you have balance within 6 inches as well. And remember that when a model mutates, it's the same model, so they will still be stunned from any crits his Aeon Stave puts out. I genuinely think High-Tech is one of your best bets into the cults matchup. High-Tech Circle are a really strong faction. Honestly, I don't really know why we aren't seeing them podium a lot, but 100% they have the tools that they need, the raw stats to podium in big tournaments. Go to the Commandos. Dynamite into their nest on turn 2 from a knob is kind of your main thing here. Plus Sniper Boy and Rocket Boy on vantage points turn 2. Basically, turn 2, pop Daka 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 and burn all of your big shooting. Stick Bomb and Dynamite do as much damage as you can, and then have half of your team sit in the middle of points and just fend off the weaklings and kind of pray. Squig Bomb turn 2 should still be very much in play and kill anything you get it into, just kind of fingers crossed. They don't have a way to stop your Squig Bomb before you can charge and blow them up. So make sure your Squig Bomb can't be got first activation of turn 2 and then charge. And just hit as many as you can. Commanders actually have, I think, a really solid matchup into Chaos Cults. It's not a good, fun matchup. It's still really tough. But, yeah, Commanders are doing okay in this matchup, I think. We then go to Breaches. So it's a turn 2 Blitz Grenade. You know, of course, that's what you're fishing for there. But don't forget that you've got the Servo Skull, can also be like doing a key suicide piece on turn 1. And, of course, you have Plasma. So you just like some easy elite popping on that for when they do eventually show you the stuff you actually want to kill, instead of just throwing your AoE damage around and hoping you can kind of smash things down. That's kind of it. Like those 3 factions really, the Hyrotech, the Commanders and the Breaches, I think honestly have some pretty solid tools. Hopefully you can see what I have been looking at there and say, oh okay, he sees this as a way of beating cults. Perhaps my team has that. But let's do a few quick honourable mentions. Honourable mentions go first to the Hearthkin. They're not good, but they do have some pretty solid weaponry with the kind of AoE damage you need with a sweet Grenadier plus some great elite killers. Unfortunately, they don't really, you know, they suck. Yeah, they suck right now, and their main ability of grudge tokens really isn't good against a Horde team at all. And it has a ramp time even against elites, so it won't work into this team's elite, where you can, where they can choose where the elite model comes out, right? They could work. If they were a different team, they could work. Also, big up the Exaction Squad postcode crew. They don't have the bodies or the AoE to deal with Cult, but they are really pretty good into this sort of team. They're shield guys, smashing whoever they run into. Yes, I understand that again I have to say, you know, this is the honourable mentions bit. They'd be good if they were a different team. Hypothetically, the Exaction Squad, in some world, have an acceptable matchup into this team. Honourable mentions, guys. Finally, the Kasrkin. If they just had a way to get past the human shield wall that cults can put up, they would actually be able to like blow their whole load on a well-placed frag that would cripple the cults. But as mentioned, this would require the cults player to overextend themselves in a critical way, which should be happening due to terrain. But again, we have built our competitive terrain to specifically help this exact team. A little bit awkward. So with that said, do we have any final thoughts for the cults? No, I think I'm spot on. I do want to just quickly reiterate, none of these teams have a good matchup. This is similar, if you're a 40k follower, to the Eldar. But there is no list building. This is just Eldar, and all of them are running 3 Wraith Knights, 3 support weapons with the 3 Fire Plasm prisms, right? It's just like, that's the faction. You know, that's just how it goes. So nothing has a good matchup into it, but there are things that can win. Chaos Cults are not unbeatable in general. However, unfortunately, it does seem that Chaos Cults appear to hit the skill ceiling. There isn't much a top tier player running cults can't beat, assuming we ignore the mirror match and assuming there is an absolutely outrageous dice skew, right? A top tier player running Chaos Cults, essentially, assuming they don't mess up, can't be beaten. And that's obviously a real issue. So when I'm saying, look at these teams, look at what they can do to cults, they can't beat a top player, but you might beat a mid player. You might be able to podium with one of these teams, with Chaos Cults being first and second and you third, right? That is possible. You're still going to have a really tough matchup, but if you're going to a tournament, you will have to face cults. And if you don't want to play cults, because that's not your flavour, that's not your vibe or whatever, I think these 3 factions are all a good thing. All good ways to go. Okay, anyway, if you made it to the end of the video, I'd like to give you a big triple hello. Thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. Honestly, nothing helps a small channel like mine more than just watching the whole damn thing, to be honest with you. So thank you so much. And yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, we've got 3 months of this. We've got a bunch of really big tournaments as well. I'm pretty sure we're just going to see Chaos Cults win all of these large tournaments coming, but maybe not. And does that kind of suck? If you're just a meta slave, a meta chaser, you're fine with it because you will probably be one of the people winning because you're playing Cults, right? Fair enough. Nothing wrong with that, to be clear. But if you're not, and you just have like your core factions that you like, and you want to do something not fluffy, but you want to be thematic and fluffy within the context of winning, and for whatever reason Chaos Cults are outside of your context of thematic and fluffy, then yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one. Chaos Cults at the moment are a smidge overtuned. Let's just say that. Anyway, what do you think is the best faction to go up against Chaos Cults against? Like, legit question. Maybe I'm wrong. I could just be completely off the mark. Maybe I'm completely overvaluing the idea of AoE damage. Maybe somebody's going to come out and say, actually, Warp Coven. -2 to minus circle to all of their movement, so they're only moving a max of like, 5. Suddenly, they're beatable, because then you do this and then you do that, and actually, shockingly, you can do it. I don't think it's Warp Coven, I'm just throwing that out there. But, have a think about it. Maybe Death Watch. That frag cannon. Everybody knows you can spam Plasma, but can you spam something with Blast? That could be it. Just throwing it out there. Anyway, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Hey, if you like what I'm doing here, consider checking out my Discord. Consider checking out, more importantly, my Patreon if you want to really support me. Because 100% without my patrons right now, I would no longer be running this channel. That would be one less Kill Team Chan in the void, in the great void of YouTube. So how about that? That would suck, wouldn't it? More channels, the better, I say. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody. Have a good day.